Tarot tip for writers number 3. And remember, you don't even have to know the meanings of these cards to use them. In tip number 2's video, I showed you how the same cards from different decks, even though they're essentially mean the same thing, can give off completely different vibes depending upon their respective picture. So let's take this step just a little bit further and look at some cards from one of the most traditional decks, the Radiant Rider-Waite-Smith. I chose this deck because it's a good beginner deck to use. Pictures are a little bit more clear and easier to read. Whatever deck you've decided to use for your story is fine. Again, I'm not teaching you the meanings or structure of the tarot. I want you to look at the cards and recognize how they feel and how they might correspond to your story or inspire something new. Here we have the Fool. He seems like a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. He's got his dog friend right there. The sun is shining bright in the sky. He seems to be skipping along his merry way. But it seems that if he doesn't look down, he's going to fall off a cliff. So there might be some kind of naivety with this card. So now let's move on to the Hermit. This is an old man. He's in the dark. The only thing lighting his path is his lantern. He does kind of look like he's standing on some snow, and maybe he's out in the middle of nowhere all alone. But, for example, there is no evidence of a supernatural environment here. Contrast that with the Devil. Now you've got still darkness, a dark place, a dark creature, demons, possibly, and also slaves who are all chained up. Now compare that darkness with the Moon, and the Moon lights up the only path that seems to be leading the way. And sometimes I see these pillars as like the Oracle in the Never-Ending Story. That's just kind of a fun way to look at it as well. We could also look at the comparison of lights. We got the Hermit, which one lantern, and then we've got the Moon, which is like a lot brighter, a lot bigger. Totally different ways how you can read each card for each scenario of your story. Now, to end this episode on a happier note, let's end it with the Sun. Because the Sun, let's compare it to the Fool. We'll go up here. Both seem positive, both have the sun shining, both seem very like a child, very naive. This one, his pet is next to him, and this one, he's actually riding his pet. And this one, the Fool, he's very in a huge wide open space. Whereas this one, he seems to be in a more secluded garden. So there could be some safety with that. So that's just another way how the tarot cards can help bring some extra life to your story. Like and follow for more.